We're following multiple breaking stories. President Trump is heading home from the U.S.-Mexican border right now, signaling that he's prepared to declare a national emergency to get his wall built. Let's go live to our chief White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. He's along the border in McAllen, Texas for us. Jim, so any sign of a crisis where you are?
No sign of a crisis, Wolf, and as you said, the president is on his way back to Washington after getting a look at the situation down on the border here. Earlier today, he declared that the nation is under attack here on the border. But I can tell you, Wolf, we've been standing here all day long. We don't see any sign of an attack, no sign of an invasion down here on the border. But that's not the only misleading thing the president has said today while he's been in pursuit of his border wall. With an end to the government shutdown nowhere in sight, President Trump took his quest for a wall down to the Texas border, where he claimed the nation is under attack.
If we had a barrier of any kind, a powerful barrier, whether it's steel or concrete, we would stop that cold. We're certainly under attack by criminal gangs, by criminals themselves, by the human traffickers, and by drugs of all kinds. Much of it comes through the southern border.
But during a roundtable discussion with law enforcement officials, Mr. Trump was told some border crossers have been digging tunnels under areas where walls are already in place.
Here, this is just a couple of miles from here, from where we're standing. This is a tunnel. This is the second tunnel that we have located. This is an area that we actually have wall.
The president is also trying to rewrite history, clarifying what he meant during the campaign.
I will build a great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Who's going to pay for the wall? Who's going to pay for the wall? When I say Mexico is going to pay for the wall, that's what I mean. Mexico's paying for the wall. And I didn't mean, please write me a check. I mean, very simply, they're paying for it in the trade deal.
But that's not true. Before the election, his campaign released various proposals to force Mexico to fund the wall, stating it's an easy decision for Mexico. Make a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion. As he was leaving for the border, the president revealed that White House lawyers have told him he could declare a state of emergency to have the military build his wall, an action that would likely be challenged in the courts.
I have the absolute right to declare a national emergency. The lawyers have so advised me. I'm not prepared to do that yet, but if I have to, I will. I have no doubt about it, I will.
The president is trying to have it both ways, insisting the situation at the border is an emergency while also claiming it's a crisis that started before he came into office.
It began a long time. Ask President Obama. Obama used to call it a crisis at the border, too. I think he said it in 2014. Look, you can all play cute.
Part of the reason for the president's frustration is that he can't seem to convince Democrats to agree to a wall. But reflecting on his meeting with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, the president argued he wasn't losing his cool.
I very calmly said, if you're not going to give us strong borders, bye-bye, and I left. I didn't rant. I didn't rave like you reported. Some of the newspapers, and then Schumer always has a standard lie. He had a temper tantrum. I don't have temper tantrums. I really don't.
Still, he said he would rather deal with China than with the Democrats.
I find China, frankly, in many ways, to be far more honorable than Brian, Chuck, and Nancy. I really do. I think that China is actually much easier to deal with than the opposition party.
Even though it's the president who once said he would be proud to own the shutdown, he is now offering his own take on Harry Truman's famous catchphrase, "The buck stops here."
The buck stops with everybody. They could solve this problem in literally 15 minutes.
Now, the president chose one of the safest places in the country to make this pitch for a border wall today, where we're standing right here in McAllen, Texas. Is one of the safest places in America. It's been that way for years. And Wolf, they are safe here despite the fact that they have a hodgepodge of different barriers between the U.S. and Mexico. Yes, you can see behind me some of those steel slats that the president talks about from time to time, but that's right next to a chain link fence that you would use in your backyard or something like that. There are also walls, there are also levees, there are also areas where you don't have much of anything, and yet the people in this community, they've been telling us all day long, they feel very safe in their hometown.